Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is Watch October the 11th. It is a Jubilee, but, well, let's put it this way. It is Atonement. It is the Day of Atonement, but the question is, it is also, or is it also a Jubilee? Okay, so what are we talking about? So you guys stay with me on this. I'm going to move quick. Leviticus 23, verse 27. The children of Israel were commanded to afflict themselves. Now, afflict means to bow down or take a browbeating, be depressed, or to humble oneself. This is one day a year that all the children of Israel were commanded to humble themselves before God. On the 10th day of the month, it is the Day of Atonement. What does atonement mean? It means that you gotta pay for your sins, okay? You gotta pay for what you did wrong. Okay, you stole something, and the world says you got to spend 2 years in jail, or that's atonement. Anyway, it says, you shall afflict your souls on that day, and whatsoever soul it shall be that is not afflicted same day shall be cut off from his people. But every 50 years, the Day of Atonement is also a Jubilee. What does that mean? Well, it means that every 49 years, the 50th year, one whole year for 12 months, that they are to let all of the slaves go, all of the debts are to be forgiven, everybody's supposed to be turned back to their land. It's a trumpet of the Jubilee. It is also a Day of Atonement, but that one only comes once every 50 years. Now, let me make this clear. No one knows for sure if 2024 is going to be the year of the Jubilee. We've been watching for it. Some have been thinking maybe any one of the last 3 or 4 years was that day. But how do we know? Well, if there is a great release of slaves, returning of lands, or wealth to the people, then you could say that's probably the Jubilee. So here's what we're talking about. There's 49 years, and then there's a Jubilee. And that Jubilee lasts for 1 year. 49 years, Jubilee. 49 years, okay, like the chart I've drawn up here shows you. We've got a new sponsor. It's sat123.com, sat123.com. I'm amazed at what this company offers. They got satellite phones. They've got Wi-Fi hotspots where you can have internet any place. So suitcase nukes go off in your city. If you don't have to worry about that, you still have electricity. It can go right up and connect to a satellite. They also have marine satellite internet. They also have satellite radios, so that you can talk back and forth, even though, in other words, it's not a phone, it's a radio, but it's satellite. So go check it out, satellite123.com. And if you use the promo code PROPHECY, there are several different kinds of discounts in there. So some of the things we might watch for might be massive arrests, Trump returning, a new financial system, Republic of the United States, things like we've been talking about. So this is brand new, September 8th, 2024. Prophet Barry Wunsch, he is out of Canada. He says, I was taken in a vision, and he was shown that a dozen or so new olive green SUVs with blacked out windows, accompanied by half dozen black motorcycles. They had military police uniforms without badges. He's going to go on to say they were en route to sit down and meet with Justin Trudeau in his inner circle. It was a delegation of Chinese and deep state leaders, and I watched as they arrived at this guarded facility. The internet and got settled down into the meeting. It was only a few minutes before he walked in. Now let me get to the point. He was summoned to meet with them once again for some hard words. In other words, they weren't coming to tap or pat him on the back. They were coming to give him correction and also tell him he'd not been doing a job that they'd been telling him to do. And here's what we want you to do. And it's not negotiable. That's where we're going with this. He was their pawn. They owned him. He was there being told how things were going to go. Now, let me just tell you what you watch for. This, to me, says that the bad guys are planning some bad things, which they do, in retaliation for the good guys doing some good things. Okay, if you think that the devil is just going to go peacefully in the night as there's massive arrests or a big jubilee or a big gold being released or a new financial system, so good things happening, he is not going to take kindly to that. These, apparently, what this is some evil people coming to tell Justin they're not pleased, and he is going to do this bad thing. That's what it's going to say. He says, I watched he was given a set of files, but one of them were handed over to the instructions as to what he was called to do. The first file was another lockdown. It would be harder than the first time around. Another wave of fear-based pandemic is what it says. The second file was regarding plans being released to enlist and engage immigrants into and through the Canadian military. In other words, bad guys in the Canadian military. They were being positioned for very nefarious or bad things to come. If it's happening in Canada, it's probably already in the U.S. He says, I knew by the Spirit they were going to be released and deployed into the nation for enforcement of evil government policies by rogue, tyrannical government. That's what's about to be arrested, rogue, tyrannical government. And it's not just in America. And it's not just Canada either. I also saw that there was a sub-plan to weaponize other immigrants, rest assured the same thing's going on in America, by other means with evil intent throughout the nation. They gave him a third file, which was a very big one, and this is the plan of last resort. He was not shown what that plan was. Then I was taken by the Spirit again to a back room with high-level NATO and cabal leaders, and about the same thing was happening there. They were displeased with Zelensky, and they were told him to deploy some things, do some things. He wasn't doing it, so they're now telling him new things to do, a move so massive that it would shake the nations. My guess is he's probably going to use NATO and U.S. weapons to attack Russia. And if I get to it, I've got other articles, maybe you've heard, Russia says, you attack us using NATO and American weapons, and it's going to be a bad day for you. They owned him. He would deploy the plan, or they would deploy the plan with or without him, and he would be blamed for it. This one was way beyond him. He had no power to stop it. And when it was deployed, Russia would be forced to respond with an enormous heavy strike back. What's that saying indirectly? It's saying that Zelensky, Ukraine, is going to use Western and NATO weapons to attack Russia, and Russia's been warning, you do this, and you're going to get hit, as in NATO and America, and Brits. The deep state cabal was desperate, knowing their days were numbered. Okay, what does that mean? It means that there's about to be a mass takeover. There's about to be massive arrests. I don't think it's the internal revolution spoken of by Dmitry, because we've not seen one prophecy leading up to that, but I'm not going to totally rule it out. Let's go on up. Barry, the Lord told him, do not comply, do not bow. Let it be known that I'm making the curtain call. This is the Lord speaking. The bad actors are being exposed once and for all to see. Let me assure you that they've had their day. They are on a slippery slope and thin ice. The shakedown and shake up is upon you. Okay, is it going to happen October the 11th? Well, let me make it clear. I do not know. But if it is God, and if it is His hand, it'll be done on His day. And the best day for that to happen would be October 11th, 2024, if this is the year of the Jubilee. And we do not know that yet, not until it happens. But that's what I'm saying. Watch October the 11th. You will not change things at the polls. It is much bigger than that. The moves they're about to make are to prevent that from happening. In other words, all of this is to see to it that Trump doesn't get in. Now, they've had 2 assassination attempts on his life. They're very serious. They are very angry. There is a revolution and reformation upon you to bring freedom that will change things forevermore. I didn't say revolution. He was told revolution. So I cannot say it's not the revolution that Dmitry spoke of, but it doesn't sound like it. Again, I'm saying to you, there are things coming that you've never seen before on a biblical scale. In other words, big things are coming. And it just might be October the 11th. Watch October 11th. Let's watch and see. I don't know. It must be so to root out and destroy the evil, demonic powers, regimes that have held you captive. They have wicked intentions to hurt and destroy my people, and enough is enough. And it is time for my remnant to bear down and take back the land that the enemy has stolen. The days of your apathy and avoidance must come to an end. In other words, the church tends to sit on their hands and do nothing. I can save many, or I can save by a few. However, The day is coming where you will stand before me, and you will be held account for not only what you have done, but also what you have not done. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Let him who has ears hear. The Jubilee. Now, I'm pretty sure Barry is not up on the Jubilee. I think this is the Lord talking. The Jubilee that is coming is greater than you have ever imagined. Is that talking about 25 or 6 or 27? Maybe it's talking about 24, okay? The Jubilee that is coming is greater than you can possibly imagine. Trust me. When I tell you that the very best days are coming. Truth is coming, justice is coming, healing and deliverance is coming, a new governance. There's at least 3 different prophecies. Use that very word, new governance. A new governance is coming. Freedom is coming. The harvest is at hand. Now, this tells you more about the harvest. We've covered that, so I'm going to move on. But this is the day to watch. October the 11th. That may be, I didn't say it is the Day of Atonement. The question is whether it's also a Jubilee, because Jubilee only happens once every 49 years. These are the verses. It says, and you shall return every man unto his possession. Now let's jump to Daniel Davis. Way back in 2012, we had him as a speaker. He says, I was in Dallas, Texas, and a government-looking official stepped to the microphone and said, ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. America, as you have known us, has ceased to exist. All property lines have been dissolved, and the U.S. dollar is worthless. What does that sound like? It sounds to me like we got a new flag, a new name, and maybe we're not under the Constitution anymore. Maybe we're under kingdom governance, just like the prophecies say. And in that it says all property lines are dissolved, tells me that they've taken the wealth of the planet and dividing it out among the people, and there's going to be a great blessing. But first, there's going to be some hard times to go through. Again, the devil is not going to lay down and just let this roll over him. And third is the U.S. dollar is worthless. Why? Because they go to a new financial system. Okay, you can't just go from the old broken financial system, boom, the next day to a new financial system without having a whole lot of turmoil. And that's what it's talking about. The scene changed. I was standing at a gas station. It had high fence all around it, power equipment behind it, lawnmowers, chainsaws, different things. An Indian owner was the manager. Frantic people were pulling up in their vehicles needing gasoline. He said, a SUV pulled up, an open trailer and tows. Family was in the vehicle. They all looked worried and terrified. They threw out their belongings. They obviously threw their belongings into the trailer and just jumped and ran. He said, I need a tank of gas. He pulled out some U.S. dollars. The store manager says, I don't take U.S. dollars. The father said, well, what do you take? He said, what do you got? So they looked through his belongings, and obviously the store manager was about to take anything he wanted to exchange it for a tank of gas. My point being, that would be a very good time for you to be able to pull out, where is it? Here we go. One of these, or a couple of these, or let's see, some of these. Silver dollars, thank you very much. We got these recently. It was a donation. God bless you. Pull out some of these, okay? In other words, this is better than trading a saw or something like that. Anyway, let's move on. Now, August 27th, this is brand new too, again, Barry Wunsch. There's a tranche of incriminating evidence that is soon to be released that is going to clearly, implicitly expose, and it goes on to give you a list, the DNC, Obama's, Clinton's, Biden's, IMF, EMF, WEF, okay, all the bad guys. The exposures that are coming are in regard to international crimes of humanity, a major international crime, and by the way, I can show you, I don't have it pulled up right for on this particular PowerPoint, but I can show you the very executive order signed in November of 2017 that gave the military the authority to investigate and to eventually arrest a bunch of bad guys for 2 things, for corruption and human trafficking. That's what they're going after, and they're about to get it. There will irrefutable evidence exposing pure evil activities by these ones. These evil ones will and shall be fully exposed. Every evil demonic effort, scheme, plan, and tactic will be exposed, and justice will be served. every plan and action to stop and eradicate, take out the threat against them by any means. They're going to use it, but it's going to be exposed on every level. Every evil and demonic plan, it's all going to be exposed. Also, a new financial system is coming. The BRICS is only part of it, but they will be part of it, so I'm told. BRICS confirms 159 nations will adopt a new global payment system, and they suspect, though they have not said, but they suspect it'll happen in October. What date? 10th? Probably not. 12th? Well, we may hear about it on the 12th, but my guess is October 11th. Let's keep going. So the article says, when that launch takes place, many have surmised that it would be announced at the highly anticipated 2024 summit in October. It'll provide participating countries with an avenue to trade in local currencies. Therefore, it will greatly enhance how these nations settle trade, ultimately decreasing international necessity for the U.S. greenback. Part of the article also says, the financial and political authorities of the United States are pushing this process forward with their not just careless, but unprofessional and stupid actions. They're not unprofessional, they're not stupid. This is God bringing down America. And I think what is about to happen, there's going to be a brief time of the greatest revival in human history, for a brief time. Then after that, the Antichrist is going to be released, and unholy hell hits the world. This is the last sweeping of Jesus's bride into the kingdom. That's what this is. This is sweeping the bride into the kingdom just before the Antichrist and the world government is all released. This is, you might say, the last of the easy times to get saved. Now, you remember this. We've covered this many times. Shane Warren back in 2012. Actually, he had the vision in 2010. He spoke to us July 10th, 2012. And he said he saw a financial storm hit. In the middle of this financial storm, he saw dollar bills blowing worthless as leaves in the wind. And he also saw a New Madrid earthquake up the middle of the United States. And he heard the voice say, they divided my land. Now I will divide their land. Of course, with what is going on in Israel right now, everybody is saying, war, war, war. Well, when that war comes to an end, it's probably going to be splitting Israel. And it's probably going to be bringing forth those headlines given to Leslie. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. And I intended to look up when is the counting of the Omer for next year. I haven't looked it up yet, but it's going to be around April sometime. Okay, so then he was shown the thing that starts causing the dollar to fall is when they start selling oil in another currency other than the dollar. That changed June 9th, 2024. And this tells all about it. I've read it many times, so I won't read it. But this also causes rioting. On their signs of the protesters are, give us our entitlements. It says right there on the very bottom line, give us our entitlements. And he also saw silver, not gold, silver skyrocket far more than gold. Now, I guess it would be a good time for me to say, if you're thinking about getting gold and silver, then we'd send you to 800-200 gold. 800-200 gold. And if you don't want to lose your life savings in this big financial change, if you wanted to make it from the dollar into the new system, and I can't give financial advice, okay? If you want your money to make it from the old dollar system in your IRA or your 401k or just in a bank account or some kind of savings, if you want it to make from the old system to the new system, call 800-200 gold. Now, maybe they say, you talk to them and say, okay, this is my situation. They say, no, you're good. Okay, great. They might say also, well, part of it's good, but this part right here, you're vulnerable. We would recommend this. Doesn't hurt. Call doesn't cost. Doesn't hurt. Call them. 800-200 gold. 800-200 gold. Okay, so after the things start to settle a little bit, remember the Lord told me as the judgment hits, so will my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. That's what this is talking about. The church is going to rise with healing in its wings. There's going to be a wealth transfer to the church, not to the government, not to the bad guys. This is going to go by the hand of God to the church. And by the way, I have emails say, will you tell me what it is? No, I can't tell you what it is. I know what it is, but I can't talk about it, okay? So if you don't know about it, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Barry Wunsch, again. Federal Reserve. Now, again, I've read this. I'm not going to read all of it. I just want to point to a couple of things. In this vision, he said he saw the Federal Reserve server room was operating at maximum capacity. It was in a panic because they knew that there is look at the bottom, there was a new system about to come online. It was a quantum system. I'm going to show you. And it's totally new, and it's going to go around the Federal Reserve. See, the bad guys, the black hats, are working to bring in their new CBDC, their central bank digital currency. And the white hats are about to come online with their quantum system. At least that's what I hear it's called. Anyway, so it says this is new and different technology. This is from the vision. The Federal Reserve had been in trouble before, but never this bad. Agents were pleading with people. In other words, they're trying to save their neck, literally. Suddenly, everything got real. I'm going to skip. Again, you can read it if you want to. Pause and read it. It was a powder keg about this, talking about the Federal Reserve. Everything was going to be exposed. This was going to be historic, a major breaking big news. And it says it is time for the wealth transfer to be released to the church. Okay. It is time to pull the plug on the most corrupt system of all and all those who think they control it. Watch as I dismantle this system that was held in place by bondage, and it cannot be stopped. Justice will be served. Slave masters will be apprehended, brought to justice, rounded up. They're all about to lose control. God is taking it out of their hands. A new day is dawning. Now, if it's going to happen in 2024, and if it's the hand of God, and it certainly sounds like it is, if it is the hand of God 2024, then it'll happen on, about, or around October 11th. Now, let me give myself a little disclaimer here. It may be that it happens October 11th, but it may be that probably that we won't hear anything about it on October 11th. And it might not even hear anything about it until the 12th, the 13th, the 14th. Who knows how long it's going to take before it trickles out to the public. I don't know. But according to what he said in another one of his visions, it does happen in 2024. So there, I gave it to you. Now, I told you I'd tell you about the QFS, the Quantum Financial System. This comes from finalwakeupcall.info, and this is as close as I can get to tell you what's going on. See, I know some things I can't talk about, but this guy's kind of talking about it, so I can read it from him, okay? He says, little is known about this new system that has been designed in preparation for the takeover. By the way, remember, the audible voice of God told me, and I looked up the date. I've been telling people it's June 14th. It's actually June 27th. June 27th of 2008, I heard the voice of God say, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel. Anyway, a little is known about this new system. It's been designed in preparation for the takeover of the central bank monetary debt system. That's the Federal Reserve System. That's the dollar, okay? For the takeover of the debt system to end financial slavery, this is really important, and control over the populace. If you don't want to lose your money, 800-200 gold. Maybe nothing happens October 11th, but I can tell you this, it takes a little while to get it all done, and you might not have time to have it all done by October 11th as it is. So my suggestion is you get about your very next phone call, 800-200 gold. Call them. Say, okay, here's my situation. Am I okay? If they say, yeah, you're okay, great. If that's not what they say, then you better listen. Okay, anyway, take over the central bank monetary debt system to end the financial slavery and control over the populace. That's what Barry wants. That's what many others have said is coming. Matter of fact, I just read Benjamin Fulford this morning. Again, I didn't have time to put it in here. He also, it's like all of the informed sources are saying this is all about to happen. Some of them say it's already in progress. Anyway, the alliance gave President Trump the magic wand of taking over the old banking system without changing it. Humanity does not have the technology to fight the deep state's financial system. So extraterrestrials, now I think it's demons, okay, came to the rescue with alien or even other dimensional technologies to accomplish this task. In quantum computers, now what's a quantum computer? Okay, so if you go and turn your garden hose on full blast, that represents the fastest computer mankind has ever made. Compare that to Niagara Falls. That's how much faster quantum computers are. In quantum computers, intelligence is embedded without 3D properties. No 3D creation can replace the power of a living being. To this end, artificial intelligence, or AI, was designed to replace conscious beings. The QFS is expected to operate on quantum benevolent intelligence with interaction on any financial transaction anywhere in the financial world, as guarantee that every transaction is legal and transparent for every account holder. Someone who has mastered quantum physics can understand the effect of this quantum information technology has on every financial transaction that passes through the quantum financial system. It cannot be modified. The confirmation and disclosure of this fortunate component of the QFS is the assurance and hallmark of a 100% reliable, neutral, and secure transfer system. QFS has no comparison to anything that has ever been presented to the world before. That's what's coming. It is like an anti-gravity machine compared to an automobile. There is no real basis to understand this technology. It has no peer. It has no equivalent. In advanced technology that anyone has had before, it is new. It reigns supreme in the technology it issues to accomplish the financial security and transparency needed for currency holders to perform all financial humanitarian objectives. With the QFS, the world can be flooded with gold-backed currencies that are designed to eliminate the old cabal financial system, that's what we're under now, with central banksters in control over all financial transactions. Remember, Henry Kissinger said, he who controls food, supply controls people. He who controls the energy can control whole continents, but he who controls money can control the world. What I believe is about to happen, we're about to see a money transfer from the wealth of the wicked turned over to the just. Briefly, I said briefly. We do know that no man can buy or sell save he has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. We know that system is coming, and it will fall into the hands of the Antichrist, this whole system. But I believe there will be a brief time, I don't know if it's 6 months, some say it might even be a year, a brief time before the devil takes over. And that's probably what's coming, also a brief time of great miracles before the Antichrist is released. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians, and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. We've got a new sponsor. It's sat123.com. Sat123.com. I'm amazed at what this company offers. They got satellite phones. They've got Wi-Fi hotspots where you can have internet any place. So suitcase nukes go off in your city. If you don't have to worry about that, you still have electricity. It can go right up and connect to a satellite. They also have marine satellite internet. They also have satellite radios so that you can talk back and forth, even though, in other words, it's not a phone, it's a radio, but it's satellite. So go check it out, satellite123.com. And if you use the promo code PROPHECY, there are several different kinds of discounts in there. In 2021, I started making bread. And long story short is I believe God showed me that wheat is God's famine food, just like it was famine food back in the 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, days of Pharaoh and Joseph. And I believe that that's what God has planned to feed his people. And you get it by going to josephskitchen.com. 3 steps. First, you want to get a machine package. Second, you want to order 6 ingredients and watch some videos, download the recipes to be able to make the bread. josephskitchen.com. Most of your long-time storage food, emergency food, all of that, typically are talking $9,000, $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen can show you how to do it for around $1,000 a person, and your kids will actually eat it, and it's actually good for you. Here's some bread that I made. In my case, I lost weight, lowered my blood pressure, gives me more energy. I eat a morning, slice in the morning, slice in the afternoon, and always a slice before I go play racquetball. Go check it out, josephskitchen.com.